Got catches by Padilla. RBI triple, Lexi rolling. Brings up the designated player number 16, Ms. Already. Turned out by Already, scores rolling with the go-ahead run. And the Renegades win their home opener 5-4.
The following is a presentation of Bakersfield College Athletics.
Scores the Toys on the top of the seventh. No runs on one hit, 3 left. Through 6.5. Renegades 6. Sequoias 2.
Good evening and welcome to Bakersfield College for Renegade Baseball. Coming to you from the beautiful campus of Bakersfield College in Jerry Collis Field. You're watching Renegade Baseball on YouTube at Go Gades Go. Good evening, everyone. I'm Tom Myers, joined by my production partner, Gio Generalao, tonight. And this evening, the Renegades at 4-1 will take on the Falcons of Cerritos College. BC coming off a loss to the Modesto Pirates last Friday. They were stifled by the fantastic pitching of Cannon Sharp, who tossed 6 innings, giving up only 3 runs and a hit while striking out 5. And Chase Knight, who came on in relief to pitch 3 perfect frames against the Renegades while striking out 2. The Renegades did have their bright spots, though, in the losing effort as Landon McDonald hit his second home run of the season and went 2 for 4. The Renegade pitching staff gave up 5 runs, one of those in the 4th inning before Modesto went on a scoring rampage in the 5th, bringing another 4 runs across the plate. Jaden Hernandez pitched 4 pretty good innings before that 5th inning debacle. But what was really impressive was the manner in which Sal Russo came in out of the bullpen in relief to shut down the Pirates down the stretch, tossing 3 scoreless innings, giving up 2 hits and walking only 1 while striking out 2. Cerritos, a little different story, only having won 1 of their first 5 games on the season. Tonight, they're really going to be challenged with this heavy offense of the Renegades, who are averaging 8 runs per game. And on the mound for them is going to be Nolan Patterson, the sophomore right-handed pitcher. 2 appearances and 2 game starts so far this season, an 8.00 earned run average. So the Renegades looking to jump on him early today, and we'll find out. But on the mound for the Renegades tonight, he got to start Logan Judd in his 2nd game start. And I may stand corrected on that. I believe this is his 3rd game start now because he's already got 2 on the season. And Logan Judd starts off the game right down the middle for a strike. The freshman pitcher has been in 2 appearances so far. This would be his 3rd. 1 win in those appearances. And an ERA for Judd of 5.4. So we're going to find out tonight exactly what kind of a mood he's in. The weather tonight, a very clear, dare I say it, here in Bakersfield. We've had a lot of fog lately. A very clear and calm evening. No wind. The flag's not blowing anywhere out there in right center. And 2 balls, 1 strike, the count. Leading off, Jose Perez, the catcher for this Cerritos Falcons squad. And another ball, and now it's 3-1. Logan Judd, out of Frontier High School, had a leg injury and sat out his redshirted his freshman year. Was originally supposed to go to Cal State Bakersfield, ended up decommitting from there and coming up here to Bakersfield College, and we're great to have him. A swing and a miss, and now the count goes full. Jose Perez, the freshman catcher. That one, Blanco with the diving catch over at shortstop and 1 away here in the top of the 1st. Tyler Peschke now the shortstop coming up to bat. Peschke, the freshman infielder, has appeared in all 5 games so far. He scored 3 runs, and he's hitting .238. Logan Judd so far on the season. And again, 3 appearances. And that's 3 appearances, by the way, 3 game starts. And now it's the Renegades' 6th game of the season, so they're going to lean on him heavily. No balls, 2 strikes the count. Here's Judd with the delivery. That one's outside. Now it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Logan, in his 2 appearances so far, has struck out 6. But an even more impressive, when runners are in scoring position, the opponents are only hitting .160. And actually, I digress on that stat. I read that wrong. His ERA drops to 1.60 when he has runners in scoring position. Okay, the count's now full. He was at 0-2. That one driven back into the net. Count remains full. This is our 6th game of the season up here at Bakersfield College. And we're just starting to get some statistics on the beginning of the season. And, of course, everything starts to look a little bit different. That one's going to be in the dirt outside. And it'll put Peschke on board with one out here in the top of the first. Infield for the Renegades today. Trice Spainhoward at catcher. Logan Judd at pitcher. Chance Garricky over at third, who normally does pitch. Santiago Blanco just made that great play at shortstop. Nick Martin at second. Leo O'Reilly at first. And in the outfield, the right fielder Landon McDonald out of Frontier High School. Jordan Brito and Luke Shaw. The very speedy Jordan Brito. He'll be leading off in the bottom of the first inning. Brody Cuellar now, the designated hitter, now up to bat. Cuellar with 4 RBIs, has struck out 4 times, and has a .333 average. One down here in the top of the first. Tyler Peschke over at first base. Ball outside, now the count's 3-0. As is the case with most pitchers, Logan Judd does warm up down the stretch. That one's going to hit a little high and inside, but it gets the corner, and now the count's 3-1. He's got a strong fastball, and he'll blow it past you. That one on the outside corner, and now the count goes to 3-2. Judd with the 3-2 pitch. And that one high. And Peschke looking for a stolen base but won't get it. And now Judd's walked the last 2. And timeout's going to get called to give him a chance to kind of settle in here. Once again, glad to have everybody on the broadcast tonight. I'm Tom Myers, Gio General Al. Gio, say hello.
Oh, hello. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's broadcast. It's like Tom said, it is a very beautiful night here tonight.
Gio was fighting like mad. I mean, they were a little late getting here on the production crew, but got this thing set up, a couple of cameras set up and ready to go. And so, really, you really kind of put this thing together really quickly tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much for that.
No, we had plenty of time, Tom. We had plenty of time.
Yeah, I got here at like 4. I was ready to go. I was like the chubby little kid sitting at the dinner table with the forks at 3 o'clock when dinner's not on until 5:30. Now up to bat, C.J. Berthon. Berthon, the first baseman. Berthon, which is only a 100 average right now, but it is early in the season, but he struck out 10 times. That one on the outside, the count goes even at 1-1. Runners at first and second, one out here in the top of the first inning. Logan Judd trying to find his way out of this. You don't want to say it's too far in, but he's a little bit of a jam now with runners at the first and second base. Trice Spainhoward with a good arm has thrown out a couple down at third base so far this season. And, of course, in junior college baseball as well as regular college baseball, the pitch clock is in effect now. And that one up and into the lights. Comes down on top of the snack bar. And out of play. Now the count goes to 2-2. Perez lined out to the shortstop to lead off the game for the first out. And then Peschke and Cuellar both got walked by Logan Judd. Now the count goes full. Judd looking back to Santiago Blanco for the sign just to make sure they're holding that runner. On a 3-2 pitch, if it's a hit and run, base hit out into the outfield could score a run pretty easily with the speedy Tyler Peschke over at second base. Ball fouled back into the net, and now the count is still 3-2. And Logan Judd does not want to load the bases up here with only one down. That one swung on and driven into right field. Landon McDonald is back to the track and gets it. Peschke tags. He'll make it over to third base, standing up. And 2 away now here in the top of the first, with Mateo Heredia now coming to the plate. A well-hit ball by C.J. Berthon advances the runner, Tyler Peschke, over to third base. And now the Falcons with runners at the corners and 2 out. Mateo Heredia batting in the 5th spot. And that one fastball on the outside corner. Good for a strike. Mateo Heredia batting .273 so far this season. That one swung on and fouled out of play. And Logan Judd ahead in the count, 0-2. Mateo Heredia out of El Segundo High School. 6'2", 195 pounds. Throw over to first base. Cuellar gets back in time. Logan Judd just kind of taking his time right now as he's ahead in the count 1-2. Pitch way outside. Now the count goes even at 2-2. Curveball comes in high. And now the count is full. Judd looking in for a sign. Here's the pitch. Swung on and back to the net. And everybody was moving on that one. Of course, it's a 3-2 with 2 out. Cuellar was almost all the way down to second base by the time the ball hit the net. And oddly enough, there wasn't any movement. That one swung on. It's going to drop. No, it's not. And a big play by Landon McDonald out in right field. I thought that one was going to fall. And he manages to find his way to it. No runs, no hits, and 2 runners left aboard. We're heading to the bottom of the first inning. Back after this. Brito, Shaw, and McDonald to lead off here in the the bottom of the first inning. Center fielder Jordan Brito. And Brito's been a bright spot in this offense for the Renegades. He's leading off for a reason. One, he's really speedy and does make contact with the ball. That one driven out of play. Jordan Brito on the season, the sophomore player, 23 at-bats and a .391 average. And surprisingly, not a lot of stolen bases yet. We'll wait to see when that starts because Jordan Brito has the ability to get on his horse. Oh, sorry, 1 stolen base. I missed the stat. Pitch called strike, and now the count's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Brito fouls that one back into the net. Nolan Patterson on the mound for the Falcons tonight. Patterson, 9 innings pitched on the season with a 8.0 ERA. Ball outside. Now the count's even at 2-2. He struck out 4 in his 2 appearances. He's had 2 game starts so far this season. That one's going to be low. Now the count goes full. And time is called. They're having a little bit of trouble with the equipment by Jose Perez. Has got an issue. He's got to go over to the dugout to get it fixed. It may be their mic is having a little bit of issues on receiving the signal calls from the dugout. So they'll get that looked at. BC has won all 4 games at home so far this season. Well, I digress. They've had 3 home games and they've won all 3, so they're perfect at home. In the 5 games that they've had so far on the season, they've scored 39 runs. And put that into perspective, one of those games, which was the last game that they played up in Modesto last week, they only scored 1 run. So in 4 games, they scored 38 runs. So this is a run-making machine. The team, as an average, has a batting average of .292 and an on-base percentage of .403, with 3 home runs, 2 of those belonging to Landon McDonald. The other home run was Jordan Mora. And here's the 3-2 pitch. That one's going to be high and outside, and Brito's on his way down to first. And 1 runner on in the bottom of the first inning for the Renegades. And Luke Shaw, the left fielder, now coming up to bat. Luke Shaw, the sophomore, batting .250. And that one's going to be still into territory. And 1 pitch, and Luke Shaw goes down. And now Landon McDonald. You know, Landon McDonald in high school hit 3 home runs in a single game. And I may be wrong about that. I said 4 last week. I need to double-check that stat. It was a lot, and it was quite a game. And the thing is that Landon also had a tendency sometimes to strike out. Surprisingly, Landon has only struck out once so far this season in 17 at-bats. That's a pretty good statistic. And he's hit 2 home runs, and he's batting right now .588. So that'll tell something. He's seeing the ball like it's a beach ball, and pretty impressive. No balls, 1 strike to McDonald. That one's in the dirt, and there goes Brito. He's going to easily make his way down to second base standing up. And if you're Cerritos, the one thing you don't want to see is the speedy Jordan Brito at second, because if McDonald puts this one into the outfield on a base hit, Brito has the ability to score from second easily. 1 ball, 1 strike. That one hits the outside corner as McDonald's looking over it. And now it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Patterson steps off, takes another look. Brito with the lead at second base. McDonald, and he punches that one towards right field. Going over to get it is Wyatt Ormond. And I don't know why Brito didn't tag at second base. That ball was hit deep into right field. And he got off the base and came back, but he came back too late to take off. And 1 away now here in the bottom of the first inning. And Jordan Mora, the designated hitter now, coming to bat. First pitch called strike. And the count's 0-1. Jordan Mora, 13 at-bats so far on the season, hitting .538. He and Landon McDonald in the 3 and 4 spot really have the ability to get things going. But he's down early in the count, 0-2. So 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. That one just misses. And Jose Perez, the catcher for Cerritos, doing everything he could to kind of try to paint that corner, moving that ball in. That's a good catcher right there. As a pitcher, you want that guy. That one's going to be swung on, and it's going to be foul down the right field line. So Jordan Brito walked to lead off, and then a fly out just at third base. That foul ball for Luke Shaw, and Landon McDonald into right field, another fly ball. So 2 down here in the bottom of the first, and that one misses outside. Now the count goes to 2-2. And Nolan Patterson really is trying to hit that corner, doing everything he can not to give the Renegades any reason to want to look at any further. And Mora, once again, a .538 batting average. And that one's going to get through the gap. Brito rounding third. He's heading in for home, and he's going to make it safe. Sliding into home. And the Renegades draw first blood with a base hit from Jordan Mora. And an RBI. So Jordan Mora puts the Renegades on the board first here in the bottom of the first inning. And now Liam O'Reilly coming to the plate. O'Reilly, the big first baseman. That one swung on over to short. And that's going to do it. 1 hit, 1 run, and a runner left aboard. We're heading to the top of the second inning. Back with more after this. Ormond, Comer, and Crowder coming up in the top of the second inning. Renegades on the board first, lead 1-0. And Logan Judd is going to face the number 6, 7, and 8 batters in the second inning. That one's going to be fouled back, and it's going to be out of play. That'll land in the stands. Wyatt Ormond, the right fielder, up to bat. And a strike. And now the count's 0-2. Ormond, the sophomore, batting .158. Has struck out 6 times so far in the 5 games this season. That one's going to hit the corner on the inside. Ormond goes down for a 7th time. 1 away in the top of the second. And the first strikeout of the game for Logan Judd. Hudson Comer now up to bat, the center fielder. No balls, 1 strike to count. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That one bounced way early. I think Logan Judd kind of lost a handle on that breaking ball. Comer batting .111. Has had 18 at-bats and has struck it out 6 times as well. And another pitch in there for a strike, and now the count's 1-2. Logan Judd in command so far in this inning. Thrown quite a few strikes. After walking 2 runners in the first inning, and he did have runners at the corners at a point and got out of that jam. And now the count goes full to Hudson Comer. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Down to third base. Scooped up by Chance Garricky and thrown out over to first base, and now 2 away. Chance Garricky, I've watched for a number of years as he played over at Liberty High School. Not only does he play third base and infield, he's also a pitcher, and he was the starting leading pitcher for the Renegades in their first game of the season last week. A fantastic athlete, can play pretty much any position. Pitch inside, now the count's 2-0. Fastball inside for a strike. And 2-1 the count now. Luke Crowder, the left fielder. And that one's going to bounce right off his elbow. And go, boy, I tell you what, you could hear it. He's got that hard plastic pad on the elbow. And Logan Judd threw a fastball right at him, and he didn't move an inch. And now he's going to get a free ride down to first base and the first hit batter of the game for the Renegades. Andrew Perez now coming up to bat with 2 out and a runner on at first base. Perez, the second baseman, batting .333. And Perez has 3 RBIs. That one's going to be up the middle, right up the middle, over Logan Judd, and runners will advance. And that'll move Crowder up to second base, and Perez with his first base hit of the game. So 2 down now with runners at first and second. And back to the top of the order to Jose Perez, the catcher. Perez flew out to shortstop on that shot. A great grab by Santiago Blanco in the first inning. And that one inside. And Logan Judd's really been trying to eat up the inside of the plate. And I don't know if that's just trying to brush them back. You know, pitchers really don't like it when you crowd the plate on them. So they'll give you a little bit. But right now, this isn't a time to be flirting with the inside of that plate and putting somebody else on that would load up the bases. Ball misses outside. Now the count's 2-0. Armand struck out to start the inning, followed by a ground out to third base by Hudson Comer. So two quick, easy outs, but a hit batter and a hit. And that one in there for a strike, and now the count's 2-1 strike. But it may be something that you don't really want to flirt with, getting those two quick outs, and then you got two runners on. And Judd is cool as a cucumber. Swing and a miss on a breaking ball. Nice pitch by Logan Judd. The count's 2-2 with two out in the top of the second. A lot of twos up on that scoreboard right now. That one's inside. Now the count's going to go full. Perez, the leadoff hitter for Cerritos, for a reason, has the ability to put the ball in play. And again, he's batting .333 and has 3 RBIs. And for a squad that doesn't have a whole lot of offensive production, that's a bright spot. And that one's going to miss, and runners are going to advance. Really close pitch there, and now the bases are loaded with two out in the top of the second. Third walk of the night so far in 2 innings for Logan Judd. And now he's on the hot seat with 2 out. And Tyler Peschke, who walked in the first inning, coming up to bat. That one fouled off to the right and out of play. And Logan Judd here needs to get in advance of the count. You don't want to get behind with bases loaded. That one's going to be in the dirt. And the count's even at 1-1. Two hits, 3 walks, no errors so far for Cerritos. Fast pitch in there for a strike. And now the count's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Pitch in there for the dirt. Count goes even at 2-2. Nice little crowd up here at Bakersfield College tonight. Decent weather. It's not really that cold. We haven't really put on the parkas yet. And no wind. It's very still. And that pitch, check swing, fouled off. And the count remains 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes in the top of the second inning with 3 runners on. Logan Judd trying to get out of a jam. Again, he retired the first 2 batters. One on a strikeout, his first of the night. In the second, Hudson Comer grounded over to third and got thrown out. Fastball outside. Now the count goes full. So Logan Judd trying to avoid walking a run in. In a spot like this, you have to throw a strike. And that one's high, and he's going to walk a run across. The first of the night for the Falcons, and now the game's tied up at 1 run apiece. With Brody Cuellar, the designated hitter, now coming to the plate. Cuellar batting .333, and his on-base percentage is .455, and his slugging percentage is .500. So has the ability to put the ball in play. Ball in the dirt, now the count's 1-0. Cuellar walked in the first inning. And that one, breaking ball hits the outside corner. I almost say the outside corner. One ball, one strike. Fastball in there a little bit high. That one misses. And now the count's 2 balls, 1 strike. Judd misses, and now the count 3 balls and 1 strike. Bases loaded, 2 out in the top of the second. Here's the 3-1 pitch. And that one's going to miss high, and he's going to walk another run across. And now that's 2 runs that Logan Judd has walked in. And they're going to go have a talk and try to calm him down. 2 runners across in a row. Really not something that you want to see out of your starting pitcher on a night like tonight. And again, as we said in the beginning of the inning, he got the first 2 runs out quickly. That ground out by Hudson Comer to third base, followed by, well, I digress. It was a strikeout before Comer. Ormond struck out, so he had 2 down with nobody on. And since then, Crowder reached on a hit, got hit. Andrew Perez did get a hit right up the middle, and then he walked 3 runners in a row, Jose Perez, Tyler Peschke, and Brody Cuellar. So kind of self-inflicted damage here by Logan Judd. And now that one's outside to C.J. Berthon. Berthon flew out to right field in the first inning. In fact, there was 2 flyouts, and that one's going to be over to the second baseman. And that's going to do it for the top of the second inning. 2 runs across on 1 hit. No errors, but 3 walks, and the damage is done. We'll be back with the bottom of the second inning right after this. Renegades will have Garricky, Spain, Howard, and Blanco coming up here in the bottom of the second inning. Chance Garricky, his first time up tonight. And we saw Garricky pitching starting out the season for the Renegades. Hasn't had any batting statistics yet. That one's going to be fouled back out of play, and the count's 0-1. But when Garricky made an appearance, his first game of the season, it was actually a pretty decent one. And in his 2 appearances, his ERA is only 1.13. So a fantastic pitcher over at third base tonight. And I don't know how much rest he's on. We may see him tonight. There's no telling. That one's going to be popped up to right field. And Ramon's underneath it, 1 away in the bottom of the second. And now catcher Trice Spain Howard coming to the plate. We saw Jason Smith in 3 games, but Spain Howard this is his 3rd game now. That one's driven over and covered now. Hudson Comer cuts that one off, and 2 quick ones away here in the bottom of the second. And Nolan Patterson has just settled in here. Has only thrown 3 pitches now in the bottom of the inning here. And now Santiago Blanco, the shortstop, coming to the plate, takes a first pitch strike, and the count's 0-1. So Garricky flies out to right, followed by Spain Howard flying out to center. And now it's no balls, 2 strikes to Santiago Blanco. So Blanco behind in the count. And 3 up, 3 down for the Renegades. And Nolan Patterson in control. And we're heading to the top of the 3rd coming up after this. Pitching here at the top of the 3rd inning, Tony Fabian now in for the Renegades, replacing Logan Judd. Judd 2 earned runs in 2 innings. And Fabian comes into the game having pitched 4 innings and has an earned run average of 0, has not given up a run yet. He's only given up 3 hits so far. So Tony Fabian, the sophomore right-handed pitcher, coming in earlier than the Renegades would have liked. He'll face Heredia, Ormond, and Comer here in the 3rd inning. Fastball in there for a strike, and now the count's 1-1. Mateo Heredia flew out to right field in the 1st inning. Blanco over to cover it, throws over to first. That one's in the dirt, but picked up by O'Reilly. And 1 away here in the 3rd. By the way, Mateo Heredia hit that line shot out to right field that was covered by Landon McDonald on a diving catch out there. I didn't think he was going to get to it, and I should have known better. Landon's really a lot faster than people give him credit for. He was a shortstop in high school, but he has a motor. He can get around those bases. And, in fact, he even has a bunch of stolen bases so far on the season. And I need to get to my stat sheet to find out exactly how many that is. For Landon McDonald, he got 2 stolen bases. He leads the team right now with 2 stolen bases. So McDonald has the ability. And another one over to Blanco. Blanco, what a great scoop up by Santiago Blanco. You know, I may have gotten some hate mail. I'm not really sure because I haven't checked the mailbox, but Blanco had a couple of really bad errors in that first game. And I remember talking to Kurt Townsend, his coach, about it. I'm like, Coach, a couple of errors, that's kind of rough. And he said it might have just been some nerves or just some jitters. But since then, boy, has he just been a golden glove over there at shortstop. And a couple of really great plays so far tonight. And 2 down here in the top of the 3rd. And Tony Fabian making easy work. And Hudson Comer up now, grounded out to 3rd in the 2nd inning. So 2 ground balls to shortstop to start the 3rd inning, and 2 quick ones away. That one in the dirt. Now the count is even at 1-1. Well, I stand corrected. The clock, the scoreboard was a little behind like it gets. 2 balls, 1 strike to Hudson Comer. That one swung on over to second base, covered by Nick Martin. He'll throw him out. Three up, 3 down in the top of the 3rd. And the Renegades trying to come back, down 2-1. We'll be back with more Renegade baseball after this. Nolan Patterson will face Nick Martin, Jordan Brito, and Luke Shaw to start the bottom of the 3rd inning. So we'll have Nick Martin as the 9 hitter, which I was kind of surprised when I got the roster today and the lineup that they put Nick Martin in the 9th spot. Martin's super speedy, and maybe there's a reason for that. That one's going to be driven into the gap. And back to get it all the way at the warning track, Hudson Comer. Couple of great plays out there in center field tonight by Hudson Comer, and one away now here in the bottom of the 3rd. So Jordan Brito now coming to the plate. He walked. And anybody go back and look at that one. Boy, he was battling that one. It was a 3-2 count. And ended up going to first base on a walk. And then scored as he was advanced by Jordan Mora. With 2 down. There were 2 down. A fly out by Luke Shaw. And Landon McDonald also flew out to right. Mora was able to advance down to second. I stand corrected. Jordan Brito was able to advance down to second. And then Mora, that base hit. And the speedy Jordan Brito found his way. And that one, a slow dribble to third. Brito down the line. And they got him. Close call down at first base, but Jordan Brito was really hustling down the line. Not able to get to him. And a great throw by Mateo Heredia, who really had to move on that ball and charged it, throwing on the run across his body. And now, 2 quick outs once again. Easy work for Nolan Patterson. With Luke Shaw now up to bat, he flew out to third base, that pop fly, infield pop fly in the first inning. And I'll tell you what, I think Jordan Brito's thinking, if I had just thought a millisecond, he really got close on beating that call. Pitch outside, and now the count's 1-1. But Nolan Patterson right now, just in command. 2 balls, 1 strike the count to Luke Shaw. Shaw, the left fielder. And that was going to hit the outside corner, and the count's even at 2-2. That one, a dribbler to shortstop. And a throw out. 3 up, 3 down for the Renegades. And Nolan Patterson in control as we head to the 4th inning. Back after this. Crowder, Perez, and Perez will face the Renegades here in the 4th inning. Tony Fabian, 3 up, 3 down in that 3rd inning. And that one's going to be outside and 1-0 the count. As I said, I don't think the Renegades were planning on Logan Judd going out so quickly only getting through 2 innings of play. 2 runs scored on runs that he had walked across. And just a bad night for Logan Judd. But Tony Fabian had a pretty good outing in that 3rd inning, getting 2 ground outs to short. Well covered by Santiago Blanco, by the way, so he needs to buy him dinner. And then Hudson Comer grounded out over to Nick Martin at second. And Luke Crowder, the left fielder, for Cerritos, he got hit on the elbow on that gigantic elbow cap, kind of similar to the one that Barry Bonds used to wear. And that sent him down to first base in the last inning, and he was the first one to score. It was him and Andrew Perez that both scored in that 2nd inning. And they lead 2-1 here. That one's going to be popped up down right field line. O'Reilly over toward the fence. And I don't know if it stayed in play or it went out. I'm being pointed. It looks like it did go out over the fence. Thank you, John Hare. So 2 balls, 2 strikes to Luke Crowder. And a base hit up the center. Oh, and Blanco. Wow. I'll tell you what. Santiago Blanco had no chance on that ball. Moving to his left, managed to somehow get a hold of it and wrangle it, get back on his feet and fire over to first, but the throw was just a little too late. But still, that should be a highlight reel. Are you kidding? Wow, what a fantastic play. It will be scored as a hit for Luke Crowder. And now Andrew Perez, the second baseman, up to bat, showing bunt. And that ball was low, and the count will be 1 ball, no strikes. So nobody out here in the top of the 4th inning with Luke Crowder at first base. And Andrew Perez at the plate trying to advance him. Shows bunt once again. Throws down the bunt. A nice bunt. And no play. And boy, I'll tell you what, that ball is a perfect bunt. Are you kidding? Andrew Perez laid down one of the most fantastic bunts I've ever seen. It was slow enough for the third baseman and Chance Garricky not to be able to get it, but fast enough for Tri Spainhauer not to be able to track it down. And now there's runners at first and second with nobody out in this dangerous part of the order once again that plagued Logan Judd. And a base hit is going to go once again to Andrew Perez, and that's 2 base hits now in the inning. So Tony Fabian trying to claw his way back with 2 runners on and nobody out here in the top of the 4th inning. And right now, it's just a comedy of luck because they've beat out a throw at first on that hard hit shot to shortstop. And that one's going to be driven into right field, and Landon McDonald is going back. He'll get it, but he's got to fire that one back in, but it's not going to be in time. And that's going to move Luke Crowder over, and the ball gets past Liam O'Reilly, who was trying to chase it down. But 1 away, but runners stay at the corners. And McDonald, a good job out there in right field of tracking that one down. So a fly out to right for Jose Perez with 1 away, and now runners at the corners here in the top of the 4th. Tyler Peschke, the shortstop, now coming to the plate. He's walked in both of his plate appearances, once in the first and once in the second. And a fastball inside. Now the count's 1 ball, no strikes. Peschke hitting .238 on the season, and he's got 2 RBIs. There's the delivery. That one's going to be inside for a strike. 1-1 the count now. Luke Crowder, the left fielder, over at third base. And Andrew Perez, the second baseman, he's over at first. 1 out. Fast pitch just misses. And 2 balls, 1 strike now. One out here in the top of the 4th. That one's going to be in the dirt, and now the count's 3-1. And Tony Fabian starting to settle in to the same fate that got a hold of Logan Judd in that second inning. Logan Judd walked 4 batters. I digress. I think 5. That one's going to be fouled off and back to the net. And now the count is full, 3-2. One out. Outfielders are playing in, and they're playing to the left. The run was on, and Blanco's going to have to go over to first base, but not before the run is scored, and Crowder comes across. And a well-done job by Tyler Peschke. He'll get the RBI. And that's your job. If you get thrown out at first, that's great. But the hit and run was on, and a smart play by Luke Crowder. He was down that line. The hit and run was definitely on because Andrew Perez was taken off towards second. Two down now, and runners at, well, only one runner. I digress. Andrew Perez at second base. First pitch in there called for a strike. And that is Tony Fabian's first earned run of the season. And that's going to make his ERA balloon to like 1.5. Perez with a big lead out at second base. No balls, 1 strike. That one high. And now the count's 1-1. Everybody playing to their left. With the exception of Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw really not covering the line over there much. And another base hit. And Jordan Brito's going to have to really fire that one in here. It's not going to make it in time, and another run comes across. And 2 runs now here in the top of the 4th inning for Cerritos. And they now have a 4-1 lead over the Renegades. And a base hit and an RBI to Brody Cuellar. And now C.J. Berthon coming up to bat. He flew out to right in the first inning and grounded out to second in the second inning. And 2 runs across here in the top of the 4th inning. The Falcons in unfamiliar territory right now, having lost 4 of their last 5 games, well, all of their 5 games in the season so far. So they've got the Renegades number right now with a 4-1 lead. Spainhauer with a good cover behind the plate there. And now the count's 2 balls, no strikes. Three hits in the inning for Cerritos. Pitch called strike, and now the count's 2 balls and 1 strike. 2 out. Brody Cuellar over at first base. Another pitch hits the inside corner, and now the count's 2-2. So 2 runs across in this inning. 2 runs across in the second inning. It's the outside corner. Down goes Berthon. But not before the damage is done. 2 runs across. And the Renegades trying to claw their way back now from a 4-1 deficit. We'll be back with more Renegade baseball after this. Couldn't bring me back. Center Hudson Comer. For the Falcons tonight, in left field, Luke Crowder. In center, Hudson Comer. And in right field, Wyatt Ormond. In the infield, at third base, Mateo Heredia. Shortstop, Tyler Peschke. Second base, Andrew Perez. First base, C.J. Berthon. And catching, Jose Perez. And, of course, on the mound in his fourth inning, Nolan Patterson in command over the last 3 innings. It's been 3 up, 3 down in, well, I say the last 2 innings. Not too bad in that first inning, but did give up a run. No strikeouts, surprisingly, but everybody flying out and grounding out. And Landon McDonald and a breaking ball on the outside corner, and the count's 0-2. McDonald's behind early. McDonald flew out to right field in the first inning. Pitch outside in the dirt, and the count's 1 ball, 2 strikes. And I'd like to tell Landon to be patient. You know, if I could have a conversation with him, that's exactly what I'd tell him. He's batting .588, the leading member of this team. And a deep shot, going back, and it's gone. And I just said it, that he needed to be patient, and then he blasts one into left center. So Landon McDonald's 3rd home run of the season. And what a home run it is to lead off here in the 4th inning. And right when the Renegades need it, and now it's 4-2. Cerritos lead. And now Jordan Mora, the other member of the squad for the Renegades, the only other one with a home run this year, up to bat. So McDonald now, once again, with 3 home runs on the season and batting better than .588. Jordan Mora got a hit and an RBI in the first inning. Actually drove in Jordan Brito from second base. And the first trouble that Nolan Patterson has come across in the last 2 innings. Foul out of play, and now the count's even at 2-2. Here's the 2-2 pitch. And another one fouled off out of play. And for people who haven't been up to a ball game up here at Bakersfield College, the parking lot is not very far away. And the nets really are not that tall. And we lose a bunch of them out into the parking lot every day. The count still 2-2. And we don't have game statistics that are live right now that I'm aware of. I haven't actually checked. But I'd like to see if we can get pitch count on how many pitches Nolan Patterson has thrown so far, because he got through a couple of innings pretty easily so far. That one looked like it was on the outside corner, but it misses, and the count goes full against Jordan Mora. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Swung on and driven into right field. Is it going to get down? It does not. Tracked by Wyatt Ormond, and one away now here in the bottom of the 4th inning. So a fly out to right now by Jordan Mora will bring up Liam O'Reilly, the first baseman. He grounded out to shortstop in the first inning. O'Reilly, a big guy. And they had him on the stat sheet, and I kind of giggle about this every once in a while when I talk about it. Liam O'Reilly, they have him listed at 6'3", 240, but I stood next to him, and he seemed like he was a heck of a lot bigger than 6'3". And I thought he probably weighed more than 240 because I'm 6'1" and I weigh 250. Now, it's not a good-looking 250, but he seemed like he was a lot bigger than me and could move me around as much as he wanted to. Big swing and a miss by O'Reilly, and now the count is 2-1. And O'Reilly has the ability to blast the ball. That one's going to be up the middle. And a little bit of a grab by the shortstop, Tyler Peschke. But too late as O'Reilly got down the line in a hurry. And now runners on with one away in the top of the fourth. And third baseman Chance Garricky coming up to bat. Garricky flew out to right in the second inning. And O'Reilly's going to get credited with the hit, and that's the third hit of the game for the Renegades. First pitch called strike. O'Reilly trying to get off the line over there and get a little bit of a chance down the base path. Cerritos right now, 5 hits so far over 4 innings. Another pitch in there for a strike, and now the count's 0-2. As I stated earlier, we don't have any stats on Chance Garricky because he's pitched in the 2 times he's appeared so far this year. Has not been in the lineup to bat. So after today's game, we'll start to have some stats on him. One ball, 2 strikes the count. Runner on first and 1 out. That one fouled back to the net, now to play. Swung out on missed, and down goes Garricky. And the first strikeout of the game, oddly enough, for Patterson. And now the catcher, Trice Spainhauer, coming up to bat with 2 down. O'Reilly over at first. One home run by Landon McDonald and a hit by Liam O'Reilly. Spainhauer fouls that one back to the net. And the count's 0-1. Trice Spainhauer flew out to center field in the second inning. Spainhauer batting .333. Slow roller over to second. That'll be enough to get him. But the Renegades put one back up on the board and pulled it within 2 on the back of a Landon McDonald home run. More Renegade baseball coming up after this. Tony Fabian will face Heredia, Ormond, and Comer coming up here in the top of the 5th inning. Any viewers that have come in lately would like to introduce ourselves. I'm Tom Myers, joined by my producer right now, John Hare, and Gio General is running around here somewhere. Johnny, great to have you on the broadcast today. Go ahead and say something.
Thanks, Tom. You're doing a great job out here.
I appreciate that. John's been up here. He was one of our interns during the fall helping us out for football season, and you ran some camera equipment for us, and you're still kind of doing that too.
Yeah.
But now he's learned how to do production duties on our production as well, and we really love having him around. He's got a grandson that's a football player over at Centennial High School, and that one driven into left field but covered by Luke Shaw and one away in the top of the 5th inning. Tell us about your grandson.
That is my grandnephew. And
Grandnephew, okay.
Kyle, he graduates this year, so he's going to be off to college or go to work. He hasn't decided yet.
Okay, and I got to call his name on some football games when he played over at Frontier High School last season. I was really excited. So we have a little family history together that we both know somebody in the realm of things. So really kind of nice. But yeah, John doing the production duties, and another one driven out into the outfield, and Jordan Brito going back. That one back to the wall, falls down there, and into a stand-up double. Wyatt Ormond. And Ormond doing a great job rounding first and getting over to a stand-up double. And a base hit for Wyatt Ormond comes up with a double. So the first one an easy one, but the second one driven into the gap, and Jordan Brito, the speedy Jordan Brito, just over his outstretched hand, almost had it. And now another swing. And that's been 3 balls in a row that Cerritos has made contact on for Tony Fabian. And the one thing you don't want to see is that the batters are starting to get in the zone on your pitcher. That one fouled off and out of play by Hudson Comer. Swing and a miss, and down he goes. 2 away now in the top of the 5th. Second strikeout for Tony Fabian now, and Luke Crowder, the left fielder, coming to the plate. Crowder has reached him both appearances so far. He was hit on the elbow in the 2nd inning and got a hit in the 4th. First pitch called strike, and the count's 0-1. And don't feel bad for him getting hit on the elbow. He's got a big appliance on that left elbow, similar to the one Barry Bonds used to wear. And then you can just drop your elbow right in there and get the call. Pitch on the inside corner called for a strike, and now the count's 0-2. So 2 runs given up by Tony Fabian, 2 runs given up by Logan Judd. And it looks like Spain Howard might have caught that one in a bad spot. Hops up, kind of bouncing that one off, trying to shake it off.
Just cold enough to make those hurt.
Absolutely. A little bit cold. And it's not super cold yet. It's been colder. We're doing all right. No balls, 2 strikes the count. That pitch misses, and now it's 1-2. Tony Fabian with 2 strikeouts. And he's given up 3 hits. Pitch in the dirt, and now the count's 2-2. A fly out to left by Mateo Heredia to start out the inning. Was followed by a double by Wyatt Ormond, who's over at second base now. And then a strikeout by Hudson Comer. And now Luke Crowder, 2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 out. Hits the inside corner. Down he goes. And the Renegades have a little bit easier time of it getting out of this 5th inning. And we're heading to the bottom of 5 right after this. Renegades trailing 4-2 rather, in the bottom of the 5th inning. Patterson still on the mound. He'll face Santiago Blanco, Nick Martin, and Jordan Brito in the bottom of the 5th inning. Blanco just doing a fantastic job on the defensive end for the Renegades today. A couple of really great plays. First pitch swing and a miss, and it's 0-1. Blanco grounded out to shortstop in his first at bat in the 2nd inning. Dribbler over to first base, handled by C.J. Berthon, and one away. So Santiago Blanco not having a ton of luck so far on the offensive end, but really doing his fair share on the defensive end. Grounds out to first for the first out of the inning, and now Nick Martin coming to the plate, the second baseman. Batting in the 9th spot today. And I talked to the coach earlier, and I said I saw a couple of, I saw Garricky playing at third base instead of pitching, and I hadn't even noticed that Nick Martin was in the bottom of the order, so I was kind of surprised that he was putting him down there. But then again, I don't know how surprised you can possibly be. You put batters all over the place to keep them in key spots just to help out where you need them. Swing to first base once again, and Berthon says, I'll do it myself, and now 2 quick ones away here in the bottom of the 5th inning. And 2 grounders to first base. And Nolan Patterson having a pretty easy time of it so far in the bottom of the 5th. He's given up 3 hits, 1 walk, and 2 runs. And now the leadoff batter, Jordan Brito, up to bat. 1 ball, no strikes. 2 down here in the bottom of the 5th. Pitch outside, now it's 2 balls, no strikes. Brito, this is his 3rd time up. Walked in the 1st inning and grounded out to 3rd in the 3rd inning. Now 2 balls, 1 strike. 2 out for the Renegades here in the bottom of the 5th. That one's in there low, and now the count's 3 balls, 1 strike. The Renegades have the ability and have done it to get a couple of runs with 2 outs. Seen it on a number of occasions this season and last season. And now Brito on base for the 2nd time today with his 2nd walk of the game. And Nolan Patterson has walked runners 2 times today, and both of them are Jordan Brito. So now Luke Shaw coming up to bat. He flew out to 3rd, that pop-up in the 1st inning, and then grounded out to shortstop in the 3rd. That one's outside, and now the count's 1 ball, no strike. Landon McDonald on deck. Hit that home run to left center in the 4th inning. Swing and a miss, and the count's 1-1. McDonald now with 3 home runs on the season in 6 games. So he's hitting a home run every 2 games now. That's a pretty good average. Throw over to first. Brito, one of the fastest guys on this squad, has the ability to steal the base pretty easily. But with 2 outs, I don't know how serious they really want to risk sending him. That one's going to be fouled back and out of play. And it's going to be out, and it bounces off of Haley and across the street to the neighbors. One ball, 2 strikes. The count to Luke Shaw. Another throw back over to first base. Trying to keep Brito a little bit close, not to give him any kind of a chance. The Renegades hoping Luke Shaw with a 1-2 count can advance Brito. Put the ball in play. Brito can make it all the way to third base on a healthy shot into the outfield. Again, the count's 1-2. That one's outside, and now the count's even at 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. In the bottom of the 5th inning, Renegades trailing Cerritos Falcons 4-2. And BC has won 4 of their 5 games. That one's going to hit the outside corner. The outside corner. That one looked really wide, but they're going to get it anyway. And no damage done. No runs, no hits, no errors. And we're heading to the top of the 6th inning after this. Tony Fabian with 3 strikeouts so far tonight over the 3 innings that he's pitched. And he's given up 3 hits as well. Renegades trailing the Cerritos Falcons 4-2 here in the top of the 6th inning. And Fabian, he'll face Andrew Perez, Jose Perez, and Tyler Peschke. Perez, the number 9 batter. So they'll finish out the order and go back to the top of the order for batters 2 and 3. Fast pitch in there for a strike. And the count's no balls, 1 strike. And a big thank you, a text message that I just got from one of the assistant coaches' wives up here at Bakersfield College, Megan Machado. Thank you very much for listening at home. I'm glad that we have your ear. Your husband, Ronnie, does a great job up here at Bakersfield College as one of our assistant coaches. And I'm hoping that I get one of those young men to come up here and play baseball next year. Her son, Ronnie, a senior at Frontier High School, a fantastic left-handed batter and a great outfielder. Looking forward to seeing him up here next season. So hit batter finds his way over to first base in Andrew Perez, and the second hit batter of the game for the Renegades. And now Jose Perez up to bat. Pitch in there for a strike, and now the count's 0-2. Jose Perez flew out to shortstop in the first inning, that line shot, and walked in the second and flew out to right in the fourth. And Blanco, that was a great play. People have the chance to go back and look at replays on some of this, but I think that's a highlight that we may have to issue. But that one was a shot as Blanco was diving to his right and just snagged that one. It was a fantastic catch. And Santiago Blanco doing a great job over at shortstop today. And that one's going to get past Liam O'Reilly all the way over to the fence. And that'll advance Perez down to second base, and now a runner in scoring position with nobody out here in the top of the 6th inning. And Fabian really fired that ball over, and I don't know if it was in the dirt but sometimes you have to have more accuracy than you do speed. Most of those pickoff plays are not high percentage wins for a pitcher. And what happens is if it gets past your first baseman, then it becomes a low position win. Pitch inside into the dirt, and now the count's 1 ball, 2 strikes. So Fabian's 4th inning. Swing and a miss. And down goes Jose Perez. And the 4th strikeout of the game for Tony Fabian. Tyler Peschke now the shortstop. And Peschke, no slouch over at shortstop either, has made a couple of great plays. He grounded out to shortstop in the 4th inning, but got an RBI by advancing the runner home. And then he walked in the 1st and 2nd. So Peschke doing his job. No balls, 1 strike to Tyler Peschke. Andrew Perez at second base. And 1 away. The Renegades playing in. They haven't really seen too many deep balls today. One did get over the back of Jordan Brito. And that was a double by Wyatt Ormond back in the 6th inning. Many of you recall, he drove it right, probably left of center. And that one's going to be driven right of center. Another one Brito's going to be chasing. That one's going to fall. Rounding the corner, here comes Perez. And an RBI now for Tyler Peschke, his 2nd of the game, as he drives in a run. And now Cerritos is ahead 5-2 in the top of the 6th inning. So 3 runs given up by Tony Fabian, who hadn't given up a single run so far in 2 other appearances. Well, I digress. I don't know if that was 2 appearances. It was 4 innings. I don't know how many appearances he had over those 4 innings, but he had not given up any runs, and now he's given up 3. Breaking ball in there for a strike, and now the count's 0-1. Cuellar walked in the 1st and 2nd innings, and then got a hit in the 4th and an RBI. So 1 away here in the top of the 6th inning and 1 runner on. That one hits the outside corner, and now the count's 0-2. So Fabian has been kind of getting ahead of some of these batters. And then they just get caught up with the timing all of a sudden. And a lot of balls driven into center field to the right and left. A couple of base hits up the middle as well. 7 hits so far for Cerritos. And time call, the pitch won't count. And trying to figure out what the call is. Oh, they're talking about the pitch clock. So they're going to sit and talk this over for a second. We'll be back with more Renegade Baseball after this. And we're back. Not quite sure what that was. There was a little bit of a disagreement about the pitch clock, but everything's kind of been squared away now. And we haven't really had any pitch clock problems up here. That one's off the plate. And 1 ball, 2 strikes the count now to Brody Cuellar. But we have not had any problems with the pitch clock being an issue. Everybody's been kind of staying right inside that number, and the officials have not really called too many things. So we don't know what the violation would call, whether you get a warning. I was under the impression that a base would be awarded to the base runner, or a ball or a strike would be awarded to the hitter, but I don't know the rule. John, do you know the rule?
No, I don't.
I don't know what the rule is. I'm going to have to look that up. I'm a little embarrassed by the fact that I don't know the pitch clock rule. That one's fouled back to the net. And the count's still 1-2. We've got one down here in the top of the 6th inning. And the Cerritos Falcons leading the Bakersfield College Renegades 5-2. The Renegades will take on Cerritos once again tomorrow night. Game time is 5 o'clock. And a swing and a miss, and down he goes. And a pickoff play as well. So 2 go down, and the Renegades get out of the inning. But not before one run comes across, and the lead gets expanded to 5-2. Renegades hoping to climb back into this one after this. Nolan Patterson back for the 6th inning. He's allowed 3 hits and 2 walks, and struck out 2 and allowed 2 runs. But he's done a pretty fantastic job of getting out of the last bunch of innings, with the exception of Landon McDonald, who is now up to bat hitting that home run. He hasn't seen any trouble since the 1st inning. First pitch in there for a called strike. McDonald with the home run in the 4th inning, flew out to right in the 1st inning. Ball high and outside, now the count's 1-1. So as we were saying earlier, the Renegades will be back facing Cerritos. That one and I don't know if that hit his mitt. It went off of his mitt. And McDonald's going to get a base hit now, so now he's got 2 hits in the game. And Jordan Mora coming up to bat now, the designated hitter. He got a hit in the 1st inning and an RBI, and then he flew out to right in the 4th inning. But Jordan Mora does a pretty good job with the bat, and we've seen that so far this season on numerous occasions. Mora batting .538. Has only struck out. Hasn't struck out at all. So that one's going to be past the catcher, Jose Perez. And McDonald easily down to second base. And now the Renegades a little bit of light in that tunnel as they trail 5-2. Yeah, Mora batting .538, a slugging percentage of .923, and an on-base percentage of .632. So this is the guy you really want up to bat when you got a guy in scoring position at second base and you got a speedy one in Landon McDonald. So 3 balls, no strikes. The count to Jordan Mora. And that one's going to be in the dirt, and that's going to put him on. And honestly, that's probably the look that you want. And Nolan Patterson, and now the coach is coming out, and that may do it for Patterson. And there is a whole bunch of activity going on in the bullpen. And I'm not seeing anybody coming out just yet, but we're waiting to see. So it looks like we do have a base runner change over at first base now. So Patterson will stay in. And he's got runners at first and second base. So in for the Renegades over at first base to pinch run is Gage Ursery. Ursery out of Liberty High School. The speedy 5'10", 165-pound freshman. And you really do want him over at first base because McDonald's got a motor. And he can definitely score on a base hit from where he's standing at second base. So Liam O'Reilly grounded out to shortstop in the first inning, and he got a hit in the fourth. And O'Reilly's up to bat. O'Reilly batting .250. And that pitch misses, and now the count's 2 balls, 1 strike. So nobody out here in the bottom of the 6th inning, and the Renegades have 2 runners on. 2-1 the count to Liam O'Reilly. That one's outside and misses, and now the count's 3-1. And there is 1 pitcher now in the bullpen, and I got a feeling, regardless of what happens here, that that's going to be the last we're going to see of Nolan Patterson. And a pretty solid 6 innings at that, by the way. And a strike on the outside corner, and now the count goes to 3-2. Patterson's only given up 2 runs over those 6 innings. Swung on and fouled down the line. Count remains full. And BC really would like to take advantage of runners at first and second right now. O'Reilly has struck out 5 times so far in the 5 games this season. That one swung on, and it's going to be fouled. Chasing it down the line. Over in foul territory. And I'm trying to see if he caught it. I didn't see the call.
Yep, he caught it.
He did catch it. Wow. A fantastic catch by Luke Crowder, sliding over into the territory right by the fence. And boy, Liam O'Reilly just can't get a break on that. And a fly out to left, and there's 1 down now with runners at first and second. And now Chance Garricky is up to bat. He flew out to right in the 2nd inning and struck out in the 4th. And that one's inside for a strike, and the count's 0-1. Luke Crowder was playing right where he is right now and managed to find his way all the way over into that foul territory to wrangle that ball. And I'll tell you what, part of that was that Liam O'Reilly had skied that ball, and honestly, it was a really well-hit ball high up in the air, but just didn't get any distance on it. And that one's going to be driven into right field and going back. Wyatt Ormond, he's going to make the catch. Tagging, though, is going to be Landon McDonald. Now runners are at the corners with 2 outs. And it's great to get runners to advance, but really not what you want to see with 1 down And now you got runners at the corners and one batter, and that's going to be Trice Spainhauer, the catcher, coming to the plate. And Nolan Patterson trying to find his way out of this one, and you can hear the pop over to our left side in that bullpen of that pitcher warming up that really they don't want to have to bring in this inning. And Patterson, a good 6 innings, now one out away from shutting down the Renegades for another inning. And then he'll get a break with a 5-2 lead. 1 ball, no strike, the count to Spainhauer. That one hits the outside corner, now the count's 1-1. Renegades at the corners. Landon McDonald on third base, and Jordan Mora over at first. And that one's outside, and now the count's 2 balls, 1 strike. Andrew Perez at second base playing back on the grass. That one's going to be in there for a strike, and now the count's even at 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. And here's the 2-2 pitch. Foul back to the net now to play. BC at the corners, trailing 5-2 here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Nolan Patterson, 6 very good innings. That one's going to be a soft one over to shortstop, but it's going to be covered, and that's going to do it. Patterson gets out of a jam, and that's probably going to do it for him. 4 hits, 3 walks, and 2 strikeouts, and gave up 2 runs. But they're really on their way with a 5-2 lead as we head to the top of the 7th inning. More Renegade baseball after this. Back for the top of the 7th inning, and the Renegades have a pitching change. They're bringing in Sal Russo. Russo, a fantastic performance, as I talked about in the pregame show last week. Came in against Modesto and shut them down over 3 innings. 3 scoreless innings. He gave up 2 hits, walked only 1, and struck out 2. Russo will face C.J. Berthon, Mateo Heredia, and Wyatt Ormond here in the top of the 7th inning. Russo has a really good fastball. That's an example right there. That one hits the outside corner, and now the count's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Swung on and missed by Berthon. I was a little off on my count. Now it's 1-2. And another fastball by Russo. And I got to wonder if they told him to come in, just throw fastballs. And another fastball. That one kind of got away from him. Counts even at 2-2. Renegades trailing 5-2 here in the top of the 7th inning. Really got to get some offense going. They'll face Cerritos the next 2 days, tomorrow night at 5 o'clock, followed by a 12 p.m. noon game on Saturday. Berthon fouls it back, and the count remains 2-2. And, of course, the softball program has a game up here on Saturday as well. That game time is 11:30. I will be broadcasting that game over at the Softball Diamond. Followed by Renegade Basketball at 3 o'clock, the men's program. And the women's program follows at 5. So a long day of broadcasting on Saturday. And I think we're all going to be running around here like we're on fire because I think all hands are on deck for Saturday. We got a lot of broadcasting to do up here at Bakersfield College. And, of course, if you want to come up here and see a game in person, attendance for all of our athletic events this season has been free and continues to remain to be free and will be for the remainder of this season. Be sure to come on out and check out some of your favorite Bakersfield College Renegades. And that one outside, and Russo's going to walk the first batter. And now Mateo Heredia coming up to bat. Heredia flew out to right field in the first inning, grounded out to shortstop in the third, and flew out to left in the fifth. So he's 0 for 3. So a runner at first base with nobody out for Sal Russo here in the top of the 7th inning. 1-0 the count. Fastball right down the middle, and now it's 1-1. As I said about Russo's appearance, he got roughed up a little bit a couple of weeks ago, but then came out last week and just shut down Modesto. And a quick pickoff move over to first base. O'Reilly thought he got him. And as I said before, Spain Howard has a good throw. He's made a couple of pickoff throws. He's made one to shortstop today, but he also had made one over to third base last week. He's got a good snap, real quick. Fastball in there high, and now the count's 3 balls, 1 strike. Three-one pitch to Heredia. Swung on and missed, and the count goes full. Nobody down here in the top of the 7th inning. And Tony Fabian, a couple of pretty good innings. And that one's outside, and now Russo has walked the first 2 batters that he has faced here in the top of the 7th inning. And he was really ahead of Berthon before Berthon got away from him. So the Renegades have walked 7 batters tonight and allowed 7 hits, no errors, and 5 strikeouts. Fastball off the outside corner, and it's 1 ball, no strikes. Russo with a 2.08 ERA. Fastball in there for a strike. Now the count's 1-1. He struck out 5 and given up 3 hits in his 2 appearances so far this season. He's pitched 4 innings in relief coming out of the bullpen for the Renegades. And a big play over at third base. And Santiago Blanco, that wasn't a hard play, but not a great throw to third base. But Garricky was able to hang on to that one. And the complaint was that Garricky didn't have a hold of the ball or make contact, but he was standing on the back, so even if the ball didn't get away from him. So it looks like a decent call. And now coach out of the dugout to discuss it. And now the officials getting together to have a conversation after the discussion. And out of the ball, they're saying that Garricky had juggled the ball, but right now, Berthon not leaving the plate. He's just kind of hanging around. We'll find out. So they call him out anyway. Good news for the Renegade fans. And 2 down now here. Well, I digress. Again, I'm seeing numbers all over the place trying to figure them out. 1 down here in the top of the 7th inning. And runners at first and second still. A good force out by Santiago. And the ball wasn't really even hit that hard. He had to kind of wait on it a little bit, so I think he had to rush his throw. And luckily, Garricky comes up with it. And they get the out. Runners still at first and second, though, now, with Mateo Heredia at second base and Wyatt Ormond at first. And now Hudson Comer at the plate. Comer grounded out to third in the second inning, grounded out to second in the third inning, and struck out in the 5th. First pitch outside, and now the count's 1-0. Russo trying to hold on the runner at second. That one's way outside, and the count's 2-0. So the Renegades trying to hold Cerritos to a 5-2 lead. 2/3 of the game gone. And BC really needs a little bit of defensive support here before they get those bats going. Cerritos has done a really good job tonight of kind of controlling the narrative of the game. They've been in the lead the entire time. And Russo's going to hit Comer and send him down to first base, and now the bases are loaded with only 1 out. And Luke Crowder coming to the plate now. And Crowder, a dangerous hitter. He got hit in the second inning on that elbow, got a hit in the 4th, and then struck out in the 5th. And Crowder really likes to ride in on the plate, and that could be dangerous for Sal Russo, who likes to throw the inside corner. First pitch high and outside, the count's 1 ball, no strikes. Fast pitch right down the middle, and the count's 1 ball, 1 strike. Russo making his 3rd appearance this season. A 2.08 ERA, a solid pitcher with a good fastball. That one's going to be a little high, and now the count's 3 balls and 1 strike. Well, we got one scoreboard that says 2-1, one scoreboard that says 3-1. That one's on the outside corner. And now it's 2-2. Bases loaded. 1 out. Breaking ball in there for a strike, and down he goes. And Crowder, his second strikeout of the game, and the first one for Russo when he really needed it, with Andrew Perez now coming to the plate. Perez has reached on all 3 plate appearances so far today. A hit in the second, a hit in the fourth, and got hit by a pitch in the 6th. Fastball in there high, and the count's 1 ball, no strikes. So the bases are loaded with 2 down here in the top of the 7th. The Falcons lead the Renegades 5-2. High and inside, now the count's 2 balls, no strikes. The Renegades have given up 8 hits today and 7 walks. Fastball fouled back into the net, and the count's 2-1. Andrew Perez in the 9 spot for Cerritos. The top of the order, and Perez coming up next. Russo trying to settle in here. Here comes the 2-1 pitch. Fastball over to first base. And that one just thrown away by Liam O'Reilly. And a run's going to come across. Actually, 2 runs come across. Well, I stand corrected. It only 1 run. I don't know why the second run wasn't coming around the corner. Or is he? Is that the third base coach standing over there? 2 runs came across exactly. So 2 runs score on the error by Liam O'Reilly. And the first error in the game couldn't have come at a worse time. Wow, not a great moment for the Renegades. O'Reilly didn't really have anybody to throw to. Russo hadn't made his way over there yet, and he got pulled so far off the bag because Nick Martin was playing too far into the center. Well, I don't want to say too far. He's playing where he's supposed to be playing. But the ball was just hitting a really, really bad spot for everybody. And O'Reilly trying to turn and throw at the same time. I think he started his throwing motion before he realized that Russo wasn't there yet. But an error will get charged to Liam O'Reilly on that play. And they're going to say that's the second error of the game. I don't know where the other error came from. And now Jose Perez up to bat. And Cerritos leads 7-2. A slow dribbler over to third. Garricky throwing to first. O'Reilly over there scoops it out of the dirt. And the Renegades finally able to get out of the inning. But not after the damage is done. So 2 runs come across here in the top of the 6th inning. And BC down 7-2. I correct myself, 8-2. 7. Oh, they got it wrong on the score. Boy, they just can't seem to get it right on any of the scoreboards here tonight. You're watching Renegade Baseball. We'll be back with the bottom of the 7th inning after this. Pitching change for Cerritos. Jake Fowler coming into the game out of Los Alamitos. And Santiago Blanco coming up to bat for the Renegades here in the bottom of the 7th inning. And the score is 8-2 as the Renegades trail in the bottom of the 7th inning. So Fowler into pitch in relief coming into the 7th inning after 6 pretty good innings. Blanco, and that's going to be, I don't know, they're going to call that a hit. He was way out on the grass. I don't think he would have made it anyway. And Blanco's going to get his first hit of the night. And the Renegades have had some success with getting runners on, but then have not been able to get those runners to actually advance. And Nick Martin now coming up to bat, flew out to center in the 3rd inning and grounded out to first in the 5th inning. So BC just not having any luck tonight on the offensive end. They can get some runners on and get them to scoring position, but just can't finish out to get those runners across the plate. Martin showing bunt, pulls back. 1 ball, no strikes. Jake Fowler into pitch now in relief. 3 innings so far on the season with a 2.45 ERA. And he struck out 3. This is his 3rd appearance of the season. And a decent job by Nolan Patterson, only giving up 2 runs over 6 innings. So did his job tonight for the Falcons. One runner on for the Renegades. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Nick Martin, the number 9 batter for this Renegade squad. He'll be followed by the top of the order, Jordan Brito and Luke Shaw. That one fouled back to the net and out of play. Counts 1-2. BC looking for a spark somewhere. As I had said earlier in the broadcast, they average 8 runs a game in offensive production over the last 5 games. And the part that's really strange about that is that the 5th game that they played in that stretch of 5 games, they only scored 1 run. So that 8 average is with that 1-run game. So if you take that one out, the number shoots way up. So BC so far on the season has done a pretty decent job of getting runs across the plate. But tonight, Cerritos just seems to have their number. And down goes Martin, his first strikeout of the night. And the first strikeout by Jake Fowler. So now Jordan Brito up to the plate. Brito walked in the 1st and 5th innings and grounded out to 3rd in the 3rd inning. Blanco over at first base, getting a lead. Swung on and missed. Brito was way late on that pitch. Weather's starting to get a little bit chilly up here. We've got our heavy jackets on now. Another swing and a miss, and that one was a little bit late. Big throw by Jose Perez down to first base. That one was high. A nice grab by C.J. Berthon. No balls, 2 strikes, the count to Brito. So far, Jake Fowler has been way ahead in the count on both batters for BC that he's faced. Brito fouls another one out of play. The count's still 0-2. 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Valley with a fastball hit over to second base, a shot. Chance for a double play. And they're going to get it. And down go the Renegades, 1, 2, 4. And BC, no answer so far. And we're going to head to the top of the 8th inning. They trail Cerritos 8-2. Back with more after this. Back for the top of the 8th inning. Sal Russo still on the mound for the Renegades. Gave up 3 runs in that last inning. Oh, they did finally correct it. He gave up 2. Okay. They were showing 8 everywhere, and I was being told and insisted upon by John Hare, my production guy, that there were only 2, and he was correct. So 2 runs charged to Russo in that 7th inning. And back now for the 8th. And Russo in that last inning faced 7 batters and struck out 1. There was an error by Liam O'Reilly that probably contributed to one of those runs. And it may have been 2 of those runs. I'm unsure. I don't remember the play succinctly who was on that the base path during that. My guess is it was both runs attributed to that error. So 2 balls, 1 strike the count to Tyler Peschke. Peschke walked in the 1st and 2nd innings. Then he grounded out to 6 on a sacrifice. Grounded out to shortstop on a sacrifice and got an RBI. Then got a hit and another RBI in the 6th inning, so he's got 2 RBIs tonight. So the dangerous batter, 3-1 the count, and he fouls it back to the net, and the count goes full. And he comes over. He thinks his bat got a little bit loose there. Trying to get a better grip on it. Now he's back into the box. 3 balls, 2 strikes the count. Nobody out here in the top of the 8th inning. Fastball. Blanco covers over it short. Fires over to Liam. O'Reilly not in time. And a good job by Tyler Peschke beating out the play for his 3rd hit of the game. Well, I digress. His 2nd hit of the game. The ground out to shortstop in the 4th. He did get an RBI, but was thrown out. And now Brody Cuellar coming to the plate, the designated hitter. Cuellar walked in the 1st and 2nd innings. Got a hit in the 4th and an RBI. And then struck out in the 6th inning. And right now, Russo really throwing some heat. First pitch foul, back in the count's 0-1. Breaking ball on the outside corner. And he's ahead in the count 0-2 now. And Tyler Peschke, the shortstop, who is over at first base, getting a little bit of a lead. Russo hasn't paid too much attention to him yet. That one on the outside misses the corner, and now the count's 1 ball, 2 strikes. And I would keep an eye on Peschke. It seems like he really wants to go. Nobody out here in the top of the 8th inning. It'd be a good time to try to steal a base if he's got the wheels. Breaking ball gets him on a swing and a miss. Down he goes. And one away now. So C.J. Berthon now coming up to bat. Second strikeout for Russo. Berthon flied out to right field. And that one's going back way deep. Back at the warning track. And they're saying he didn't catch it because everyone's still coming around the bases. And Berthon with the hit drives in a run as Peschke was wheeling all the way around from first base, and that ball was hit deep. And Luke Shaw, all the way back, we thought he had it, but could barely get a mitt on it, crashes into the wall. And to be honest with you, that was a lot of risk because nobody waited for him. They were taken off. That's remarkable. Berthon was wheeling all the way around. Or I say Peschke. That ball had been caught. He would have been thrown out at first base. So one more run comes across, and the Renegades now trail 8-2. And a slow dribbler over to third base. Garricky trying to get there. And a good throw by Garricky over to O'Reilly. And it's the second out of the inning. Berthon was held. And boy, that was a real slow roller over to third base. But a good job of Chance Garricky getting over, running down that ball, throwing on the run over to first base to throw out Heredia. So a little conversation going on out on the mound. And usually, and I'm pretty sure that's Kurt Townsend, yeah, he's going to call in a reliever now with a runner on third base. And that's going to do it for Sal Russo. And so a pitching change now for the Renegades. And we're trying to get the number right now. Sometimes we're so far away. I think that's number 18, Brody Weddle. And it is. So Weddle coming in now out of Liberty High School. So we're going to watch Weddle warm up, and then we'll be back with more Renegade baseball after this. Brody Whittle in for the Renegades now, the freshman pitcher out of Liberty High School. 3 innings pitched so far this season with a 9.0 ERA. Hasn't struck out anybody in those 3 appearances so far, in those 3 innings, rather. First pitch inside on the corner for a strike. 1 runner on for the Falcons. One and one the count now. C.J. Berthon is over at third base right now, 90 feet from scoring. 1 run across so far in the inning. And an 8-2 lead for the Falcons. That one fouled off. Straight down into the dirt. One ball, 2 strikes, 2 out. Renegades trying to get out of the inning. And hopefully only allowing 1 run across. That one just misses. And the count's even at 2-2. BC defense, shortstop and second baseman. Santiago and Martin playing back on the grass. That one's going to be popped up in the air, fouled out of play. And we heard it land on the street behind us. Luckily, there's never any cars out there. I mean, there are cars that drive down the street, but we're lucky that those 2 things don't coincide at the same time. 2 balls, 2 strikes to count. Here's the delivery. It's popped up. Jordan Brito's going to be there to cover that one. And 3 away now. 1 run across in the top of the 8th inning. BC trailing Cerritos 8-2. Back with more after this. Jake Fowler back for another inning in his second appearance in the game. He'll face number 10, Luke Shaw, the left fielder. Shaw flew out to third, that pop-up in the first inning, just over on the other side of the third baseline. Then he grounded out to shortstop in the third inning and struck out in the fifth. And BC's really had some trouble getting some things going in the last 2 to 3 innings. And a foul attempt, trying to slap that one down the line. Ohm won the count to Shaw. Shaw so far on the season, the sophomore, batting .250. That one, Andrew Perez covering. Thrown over to Berthon for the first out of the inning, and now the count. Correction, now it's 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Getting a little distracted up here. It's getting a little chilly. Landon McDonald now up to bat. McDonald a home run in the 4th inning. That blast over the center field wall. That one's going to be skied. But Hudson Comer right underneath it out there in center field and 2 away. So 2 quick outs. And Jake Fowler making easy work of the Renegades here in the bottom of the 8th inning. And now Brady Baird is going to make it in for the first time tonight, pinch hitting for Jordan Mora. And they either slide him in probably as the designated hitter. And that one's going to be covered by second baseman. 3 up, 3 down. And Cerritos in control with an 8-2 lead as we head to the 9th inning. Coming back after this. Back for the top of the 9th inning. Brody Weddle, he'll face Hudson Comer, Luke Crowder, and Andrew Perez. BC trailing 8-2. And the Cerritos Falcons really needed a win today. They're 1-4 on the season. The Renegades are 4-1. Fastball in there for a strike, and the count's 0-1. Couple things coming up this weekend that we've already kind of talked about. I'll touch on it again. Nick Martin over to his right. Heads that one off for the first out of the inning. And 1 away. Luke Crowder now up to bat. Crowder hit by a pitch in the 2nd inning. He got a hit in the 4th, and then he struck out in the 5th and 7th innings. So started out hot and then cooled off after that. That one's going to be driven into the gap. I don't think anybody's going to get there. That's going to go back to the wall. Off the wall. Jordan Brito fires that one in. And Comer's going to be into second base with a stand-up double. So a double for Hudson Comer, the center fielder. And Comer, like I said, really kind of got a little bit cold. And now warmed up, or Crowder rather. And now Andrew Perez, the second baseman, up to bat. First pitch outside, and the count's 0-1, or 1-0. Pitch in there for a strike. Perez, 2 for 4 today, has reached base every time. A hit in the second, a hit in the fourth. He got hit by a pitch in the sixth. And the Renegades asleep at the wheel as Luke Crowder finds his way from second to third and gets a stolen base. And now a runner in scoring position with 1 out. And a little bit of insurance is what Cerritos is looking for now. Perez reached on an error in the 7th inning. That one's slow roller. That will score a run, and I don't think he's going to get there. That one was really slow rolling. And Blanco was charging but just couldn't get there in time. You know, there have been a lot of those tonight by Cerritos. Not great hits, but just the ball is just not traveling. Either that or the Renegades are just playing far too deep to be able to crash down into the grass and pick those up. But they've had a couple of them tonight, and the Renegades just have not had enough time to get the ball over to first base. And it's not like they're not trying. I mean, the Renegades have had a number of opportunities tonight where Blanco's made fantastic plays out at shortstop and makes a great throw, and the runner's just down the line before the ball can get there. And that one swung on, and that one's going to head over the left field back to the fence, and it's going to score another run. And Andrew Perez all the way from first base, and that one gets away from the catcher. And it's just remarkable. Jose Perez makes it all the way around to third base. And I don't think they're going to score him with a triple on that or a double because of the pass ball. So the Renegades just falling apart at the seams here now. And 2 runs across with 1 out here in the top of the 9th inning. A couple of big hits in this inning, and the Renegades unable to stop the bleeding now. They trail 10-2, and by far, I mean, I know we're only 6 games in, but this is the worst loss of the season for them so far. They've led and been pretty much in charge in every game so far up until this point, and Cerritos needed a win. They were 1 win and 4 losses. So now the Renegades are going to swap pitchers. And checking in for them, number 35, Wyatt Ash out of Bakersfield High School. So Wyatt Ash now will come in with 1 out in the top of the 9th inning, and 2 runs have already come across. And a runner is on third. We'll be back after this. Coming back, getting ready for Wyatt Ash in his second appearance. He's pitched 1 inning so far this season, but in that 1 inning, he struck out 2. So BC really needs a good performance by him right now to get him out of this 9th inning. And fans, coming up on Saturday, it's the Play for K game, our women's basketball program to recognize breast cancer awareness. Will be taking place. Game time is 5 p.m. in the Renegade Athletic Center. Hope to see you there. That one driven into right field. Landon McDonald over towards the line. Firing it towards home, and the throw is not in time, and another run will come across. And McDonald is down on the ground right now, holding his back and in obvious pain and trying to walk that off a little bit. And I think Landon's had some back problems that I think we talked about back when he was in high school. He seems to be trying to get up and walk it off. I don't know if they're just going to let him do that. If you're injured in a game like this might be a chance at this point in the game where Kurt Townsend pulls him from the game to prevent any further injury. And not something you want to see in one of their best hitters on this squad. And it looks like he's coming out. And as McDonald comes out, they're going to swap in. Looks like number 19, Grant Reynolds. And Reynolds also out of Frontier High School. And an outfielder all through high school. I watched him play. So 2 down now here in the top of the 9th. And a good job so far by Wyatt Ash. 1 pitch and 1 out. Fastball in there high. And the Renegades trailing 11-2 now, as a run did come across. And now batting, a pinch hitter has come in for the Falcons, and that's number 35, Holden Hungerford. Hungerford out of Warren High School in Downey, California. That one swung on and fouled off. Over towards the BC bullpen, and everybody over there scrambling for their lives. 2 balls and 1 strike to count to Hungerford. Fastball in there high, and now the count's 2-2. Correction, 3-1. And Hungerford's going to make his way down the line as Ash walks him. And now C.J. Berthon coming to the plate. So Berthon flew out to right field in the first inning, grounded out to second in the second. He struck out in the 4th inning, walked in the 7th, and got a double back in the 8th inning. So another walk for the Renegades, and they have 8 walks in the game today, and they've given up 10 hits and 1 error. Hungerford with the big lead over at first base. I don't know if he's going anywhere this late in the game with 2 outs. Fastball in there for a strike, and the count's 1-2. And Ash is ahead. And the Renegades would really like to get out of this one. Check swing, and down he goes. But not before the damage is done. And the Renegades trailing 11-2 as we head to the bottom of the ninth, and they're looking for some help. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back for the bottom of the ninth inning. Coming up in the bottom of the ninth, pinch hitter number 31, Elijah Legan, number 17, Chance Garricky, and number 16, Trice Spain-Howard. And on the mound, number 31, Jonathan Long, coming in to close this one out for the Falcons. First pitch inside for a ball, and the count's 1 ball, no strikes. And that one fouled off out of play back into the parking lot. Just waiting for the sound of a car. BC tonight, only 5 hits and 3 walks, but they've only struck out 4 times. So they've been putting the ball in play. They just have a lot of ground outs and a lot of flyouts. Just have not had opportunities when they needed them. And trailing 11-2. And Kurt Townsend making the decision right now to put Elijah Legan in the place of Liam O'Reilly. And O'Reilly had grounded out to shortstop in the first, and then he got a hit in the fourth and then flew out to left. So not a lot of bad luck. And O'Reilly actually runs the bases pretty well. But obviously trying to get a little spark here by pinch hitting Elijah Legan. That one's going to be inside. I don't know if it contacted him. No, it sure didn't, but it looked close. And the count is full. Renegades trailing by 9 in the bottom of the ninth. We'll be back tomorrow night. That one swung on. It's a base hit. It's going to fall. And no, it's not. Wow, Wyatt Ormond out in right field. It looked like it was going to hit the ground. dives to save it from hitting the ground. And you know what? Right now, it seems like Cerritos is playing like the Bakersfield College team that we watched to play here. And a fantastic job. This is not a 1-4 team. And I'll tell you what, right now, they have shown up tonight and absolutely decimated this Bakersfield College Renegade squad, 11-2. Pitch outside to Chance Garricky now. Garricky has flown out to right twice tonight and struck out in the 4th inning. And we'll see what Townsend is going to do as far as putting him on the mound tomorrow or Saturday. That one's fouled off and out of play. One ball, 2 strikes to Chance Garricky. Garricky at third base tonight. And a decent job over at third as well. That one short in the dirt. And now the count's even at 2-2. So again, baseball here tonight at Bakersfield College. Game time is 5 o'clock. And then on Saturday, they'll be playing at 12:30. Softball plays on Saturday up here at Bakersfield College. Game time is 11:30. I'll be on the call on that one. They also have a doubleheader that day, so the second game will be at 4:30. But then I'll be going inside after the 11:30 game and calling basketball for Bakersfield College. And he got off the bag, and Garricky's going to make it on with one away here in the bottom of the 9th. And a throwing error is going to get charged to the shortstop, Tyler Peschke. And Tri Spainhoward now coming up, trying to get the Renegades going here. Spainhoward flew out to center field in the 2nd inning, then grounded out to second in the 4th and to shortstop in the 6th. Fast pitch outside, and it counts 1-0. The difficult part for Bakersfield College is just trying to get something started. They just have not been able to put the ball where they needed to. Again, so far tonight in the entire game, 1, 2, I'm counting on my stat sheet here, they've only struck out 3 times the entire game. So a lot of groundouts and flyouts just have not been able to put the ball where they needed to, and that's going to be a pass ball, and Garricky's going to make his way easily down to second base. 3-0 the count now to Spainhoward. And Troy Spainhoward has to be pretty tired. Long nights like these for a catcher are tough, especially 9 innings. And Luke Camp's now in as a pinch runner for Garricky. He's down at second base. And again, I don't know why you pull out your third baseman in a game like this unless you're trying to make sure he doesn't have a collision at the plate to where he can't pitch tomorrow night. So that's a walk. Spainhauer will find his way down. And 2 runners on now with 1 out in the bottom of the 9th for the Renegades as they trail 11-2. And Santiago Blanco, the shortstop, now coming up to bat, who grounded out to shortstop in the 2nd inning, grounded out to first in the 5th. And then he got a hit in the 7th, but he got thrown out on a double play at shortstop. Well, it's second, I should say, by the shortstop. And he hits that one into the gap, and it's all the way back to the warning track. And he'll be into second base with a stand-up double. And a big hit by Santiago Blanco scores a run. And so a double and an RBI. for Santiago Blanco. And now Nick Martin coming to the plate. Martin's 0 for 3 today. Breaking ball in there misses. And it's 1 ball, no strikes. One out here in the bottom of the ninth. 1 run across so far, and the Renegades trail 11-3. Fastball high and inside, and the count's 2-0. And over at third base, swing and a miss. And Spain Howard, on that play, I thought he should have made it from first to home. That ball was all the way back to the warning track, but just didn't have the motor for it. So I was kind of surprised to see him on third. But 1 out here in the bottom of the ninth inning. 3-1 the count to Nick Martin. Jake Fowler's been pretty automatic up until this point, and that one's heading out and bounces right in front of a car. And it's going to make its way down the road. Three balls, 2 strikes to count. That one's high. And now Nick Martin's going to get a walk. And we're going to see how long until the coach for Cerritos makes his way out here. And I stand corrected. I said it's Jake Fowler, but I forgot they brought in number 31, Jonathan Long, as their closer. And so far, bases are loaded now with 1 out. And the Renegades, I don't want to say it's a little bit of light, but hey, there's something there. And there's a little bit of noise going on. That's going to be popped up to second base, and then there's 2 down now. There's a little bit of noise going on down in the bullpen. I don't know how serious that noise is, but now there's 2 away in the bottom of the ninth inning. And Luke Shaw up to bat. Jordan Brito tonight, who was just up, who flew out to second, usually does a pretty good job on the offensive end, or at least walking and getting on, and he walked twice tonight. But he also grounded out to third and grounded out to second. So an 0 for 4 night, which is unusual for Jordan Brito. Well, swing and a miss, and that one's fouled back, heading our direction. And the big bang off the metal and the applause. 2 balls, 1 strike to Luke Shaw. And that one fouled off out of play. Now the count's even at 2-2. So the 2-2 pitch on its way. And a swing and a miss, and that's going to do it. Renegades fall to the Cerritos Falcons 11-3 on a night when BC just couldn't get a whole lot going. We'll be back with our final thoughts right after this. Tom Myers back with Gio General Al. And not a great night for Bakersfield College, but Cerritos, hats off to them, finally pick up another win, and now they're 2-4. The Renegades fall to 4-2. And honestly, I think BC's going to have a little bit of their work cut out for them over the next couple of days. Gio, what do you think?
Oh, yeah. It might be a deterrent, but hopefully you've got 2 more games playing against Cerritos. But Cerritos came out to play today, and they showed out and defeated us handedly.
Absolutely. So the Falcons with 11 runs, 12 hits, and 1 error. The Renegades with 3 runs, 6 hits, and 3 errors. Really just not their night, and an uncharacteristically short offensive production when BC averages 8 points a game. And as I said earlier, they average those 8 points a game with one of those games only scoring 1 point, and that was last Saturday. So BC's really having a little bit of trouble kind of getting things rolling here. Hopefully be able to find their footing, come back together, regroup for the other game tomorrow and the game on Saturday. Hopefully everybody can make it out here. Once again, the game on Saturday, game time is 12:30 here at Bakersfield College for the Renegades. The women's softball program will be at 11:30. We'll be broadcasting that game. And then following those 2 games, it'll be men's basketball at 3 o'clock, followed by women's basketball at 5 o'clock. And then there will be a doubleheader for softball, and the women's softball game is at 4:30. So they'll have a couple of games, Gio.
So come on down. It is free. All of our events up to the end of the season is free. We would love to see you here.
You were talking about the special event earlier to me for basketball. Mention that.
Yeah, the KL Foundation, the Play for K. It's for awareness for women's breast cancer, as well as all other cancers affecting women. And they'll be they have these really cool pink uniforms that they'll be wearing that night.
Fantastic. Okay, so be sure to check that out or come back to our Go Gades channel on YouTube and watch any of the sports that we're broadcasting this season, or come on out to one of the games. Like Gio said, admission is free. So for everybody here at Bakersfield College, this has been Tom Myers. That was Gio General Al. Thanks to John Hare, our camera guy, who also sat in on production duties tonight. We'll catch you next time, everybody. So long.
Bakersfield College Athletics thanks you for watching this broadcast. For more BC Athletics sports videos, highlights, and replays, subscribe to Bakersfield College Athletics on YouTube. And for news, live broadcasts, and schedule information across all our sports, visit gogades.com. Bakersfield College Athletics thanks you for watching this broadcast. For more BC Athletics sports videos, highlights, and replays, subscribe to Bakersfield College Athletics on YouTube. And for news, live broadcasts, and schedule information across all our sports, visit gogades.com. Bakersfield College Athletics thanks you for watching this broadcast. For more BC Athletics sports videos, highlights, and replays, subscribe to Bakersfield College Athletics on YouTube. And for news, live broadcasts, and schedule information across all our sports, visit gogades.com.